Today, a new council rule comes into force, stopping bottle stores and supermarkets from selling alcohol after 9 o'clock in Auckland. The majority of bottle stores stay open until 11 p.m. and will now lose crucial selling hours. Many believe that it will be bad for business, stating the rent will still need to be paid, all the overheads will still remain, not to mention staff that now lose out on crucial time on their wages. The Auckland Council unanimously voted through the policy earlier this year, saying it would help reduce the harm associated with drinking, such as injuries, violence and car crashes. Since September, stricter rules for new off-licences in the central city and 23 suburbs meant most applications were likely to be declined unless they met a very high threshold. One councillor who was keen to see this all come to fruition was Josephine Bartley, who we did try and get on the show, but she was busy today. Anyway, she went on to say, what we hope to see is a reduction in alcohol harm experienced in our communities, from people who are buying alcohol late at night from liquor stores, then going into the parks and drinking and fighting. Now, I don't think it's just going to be Auckland either. A community leader in Christchurch is interested and wants their city to follow Auckland's lead in bringing in a ban of supermarket and bottle store alcohol sales after 9 p.m. there. Auckland's LAP, or Local Alcohol Policy, was approved earlier this month by the Alcohol Regulatory and Licensing Authority, edging it a step closer to implementation. Back to Christchurch, they're in the early stages of developing their own LAP. Waitai Coastal Burwood Linwood Community Board Chairperson Paul McMahon says stricter controls would help prevent alcohol harm. Well, would it? Does it? Where's the research behind it? Or is this the council, especially for Auckland, just going by a community whim? Ash Parmar is, he's a liquor outlet owner. He's been in the alcohol retail industry for many years. He's a regular on the show and we love having him on, and he joins me again. Hello, Ash.
Hi, Leah.
Thanks again for your time, my friend. Look, what I find a little bit disturbing about this decision is that councils can adopt policies with little or no evidence of harm reduction. I mean, Josephine Bartley herself, and I said it in the intro, her words were, I hope to see reduction in harmful drinking. Where is the evidence?
Well, that's the thing. The key word is hope. There's actually no real evidence being presented, but there is evidence out there that on average per capita, Kiwis are actually drinking less alcohol.
Yeah.
The consumption is actually just, I couldn't sit here and tell you why it's dropping. Maybe it's just not cool to drink alcohol anymore. I do consume it regularly and have been selling it for 20 years. But if people are drinking less overall, and obviously the harms here, that's well documented, would these changes actually reduce harm caused by these people? And I remember talking to you about it back in September. The question I put forward, I think there's actually a couple of them, it was the same, are these people going to stop doing alcohol-related harm to themselves and other people just because alcohol is not for sale after 9 p.m.? And the other one, key one, which no one seems to be able to answer, and I've been asking repeatedly, are the gangs going to stop supplying drugs to the communities after 9 p.m. as well? Because, the two things are kind of interlinked. It's a society we live in where people are looking for a high or an ability to, I guess, do something to themselves. We probably need a scientist or a psychologist to make further comments. But yeah, so the key word hope is it's not good enough really, because you don't want to set public policy based on hope. That's not how society works or progresses, unfortunately.
So interesting that, you brought up the gangs. Are the gangs going to stop selling drugs after 9 p.m.? I mean, I know it's a bit of a tongue-in-cheek, but does this highlight how the alcohol industry is a bit of a kind of an easy target then? Because, they can make the laps, they can make their own policy. So they can't get the gangs, so they're going to target alcohol instead.
Yeah, well, I mean, the key operative word, or I think the term that was used quite a bit in the last sort of 12, 18 months in the lead up to this was, giving communities greater say, which is actually quite good. That's that's really good, and that's what labs was supposed to be about as well. Have your say in the matters around supply and sale of liquor. But this kind of feels like, more of a political decision. And the comments you made about that particular councillor, and there's a few others around the country who are in the political sphere making these comments, but none of them are evidence-based. And then you use the word hope, hoping for the best, hoping that alcohol harm may reduce. But what they've done is gone and impacted law-abiding businesses that are creating GST and tax and wages. You've gone and just impacted them in the hope that you may or may not reduce alcohol harm. So that's not good, actually, because that's not how our society progresses. But look, it's going to kick in today. In terms of speaking from a retailer's perspective, not a lot of them going to lose sleep over it. There will be some who will lose money, especially the ones who are in the busier suburbs, who sort of have that sort of foot traffic that does kick on late into the night. If you were in the inner suburbs, the sales probably die down quite early anyway, around 8:30, so they might be actually a little bit grateful to go home. But there'd be a lot of people who do buy liquor from supermarkets because they finish work late or for whatever reason they want to buy some at 10, 11. They will be impacted. But also, there will be a reduction in staff hours, so people will probably lose a little bit of work as well because the stores are not open that long.
Well, that's the one, Ash, that I do feel for, because, they've gone and cast this 9 p.m. shut, wave the wand over all of Auckland. And our little off-licence, down the road from us, I was speaking with the guy there last week. He is about to lose about 15 hours work a week. And, that's you take that out of a normal salary, even 8 hours. But, he said he's about 15 hours a week. That's a lot of money to lose. And, they're not consulted. They're not, the council's not giving them money for their workers. So what happens to him who's got a family and, rent or whatever? This is where I find it it is unfair. And I know Josephine Bartley, and I've even been on a few things with her, and she talks a lot about South Auckland and the community there and what she has seen, and that's fine. But then they've cast it over everybody. There has been no issues, as far as I'm aware, and I've spoken with the ones around here. They have no issues with opening late. In certain suburbs, they don't have people rolling and drunk and then causing fights outside the stores. So why are they, having to shut early? That's what I don't agree with. It's very archaic ruling, I think, Ash. And then the supermarkets, the ones that, what's going to happen to them at, say, 10 to 9 on a Friday when, someone's rolling around there getting something for dinner and they go grab a bottle of wine or forget or whatever and then go up at 9:05. Oh, no, sorry, we can't sell you that. Can you imagine? They already have enough people abusing them. I just think there's going to be real issues in the supermarkets.
What actually will be interesting, and I just thought of it as you were saying the last few little things, Leah, is there is a significant problems with our supermarkets with looting and assaults that happen, over little things that people are looting. But we're going to have a situation also where supermarkets will be open, but a chain or a curtain will be drawn to close off the liquor section. So what is that going to lead to? And this is where I bring back that keyword hope. So you were hoping you're going to reduce alcohol-related harm, but have you now potentially opened the door for more harm? And it's still alcohol because they're going to try and loot it or try and shoplift it. Would supermarkets have to create cages around the liquor department? I'm not sure. I mean, I personally don't know what work they're doing in this space, but it will create other problems. And I feel for the person you mentioned, who is potentially going to lose working hours. Yeah. That's really awful, especially going into Christmas and New Year, We all want to feel a little bit of joy, but clearly there's no joy for this person. And there'll be many others out there.
Yeah.